Imagine a world where gravity pulls sideways, light bends like water, and time flows backward in patches. A team of explorers lands on an uncharted planet only to find themselves trapped in a realm that defies every law of nature they've ever known. As their equipment fails and reality warps around them, they must unravel the secrets of this bizarre universe or be consumed by its chaos. Can they escape before the planet swallows them whole? Subscribe now for more mind-bending sci-fi adventures. The spaceship descended into the atmosphere of an unexplored planet, shrouded in mystery since its discovery decades earlier. From orbit, it had appeared as nothing more than a faint blur against the cosmic backdrop, but closer inspection revealed something extraordinary. Its surface glimmered with hues no natural phenomenon could explain, shifting between iridescent blues and fiery oranges as if alive. The crew aboard the vessel consisted of seasoned scientists and engineers, each chosen for their expertise in deciphering the unknown. They were prepared for anomalies. After all, deep space exploration often brought surprises. But none of them could have anticipated what awaited below. As the ship pierced through dense clouds that seemed to ripple unnaturally, instruments began to falter. Sensors flickered, readings oscillated wildly, and even basic systems like oxygen regulation stuttered without warning. It was as though the very fabric of reality resisted their intrusion. Despite these ominous signs, there was no turning back. The mission directive was clear: investigate, document, survive. Each member of the crew felt a mix of excitement and dread as they approached the surface, their minds racing with possibilities. What secrets lay hidden beneath those swirling clouds? Would they uncover evidence of extraterrestrial life, or would they simply add another chapter to humanity's endless quest for understanding? The descent grew more turbulent with each passing second. Vibrations rattled the hull, and the cockpit lights dimmed intermittently, plunging the interior into brief moments of darkness. Outside, lightning-like discharges crackled across the sky, illuminating vast stretches of terrain that seemed to shift and twist as if viewed through a distorted lens. The planet's atmosphere itself appeared alive, pulsing with energy that defied conventional explanation. Every instinct screamed at the crew to abort the landing, yet curiosity burned brighter than fear. Humanity's relentless drive to explore the unknown propelled them forward, even as the planet seemed determined to repel their presence. Finally, the ship broke through the cloud layer, revealing a vista unlike anything any of them had ever seen. The ground shimmered with an otherworldly glow, dotted with towering formations that resembled jagged shards of glass frozen mid-explosion. Rivers of light flowed across the landscape, bending and twisting as though guided by some unseen hand. The horizon stretched endlessly, interrupted only by clusters of crystalline structures that pulsed faintly, emitting soft luminescence that ebbed and flowed like ocean waves responding to an invisible tide. It was beautiful, mesmerizing, and utterly alien, a place where the laws of physics seemed to bend and break at every turn. Despite the awe-inspiring view, unease settled over the crew. The malfunctioning instruments were just the beginning. This planet wasn't merely unfamiliar, it was hostile, actively resisting their attempts to understand it. Yet the mission had to continue. With bated breath, they prepared for touchdown, knowing full well that stepping onto this alien soil might change everything they thought they knew about the universe. Touchdown came abruptly, jolting everyone inside the craft. Outside, the horizon stretched endlessly, dotted with jagged formations that resembled shattered glass frozen mid-explosion. Yet upon closer inspection, those shards pulsed faintly, emitting soft luminescence that ebbed and flowed like ocean waves responding to some unseen tide. Gravity here felt strange, not weaker or stronger than Earth's, but inconsistent. One moment, boots sank slightly into the ground as expected. The next, weightlessness threatened to lift feet off the surface entirely. Moving forward required constant adjustment, muscles tensing unpredictably just to maintain balance. Initial scans suggested breathable air, though tinged with trace elements unfamiliar to any database. Still cautious, the team donned protective gear designed to shield against potential contaminants while allowing mobility. Their first steps onto this alien soil marked humanity's debut on yet another frontier, but unlike previous missions, this one promised danger far beyond anything encountered before. Each step forward felt like walking deeper into a dream, or perhaps a nightmare. The ground beneath their feet behaved erratically, rippling outward with every footfall before snapping back into place moments later. Footprints didn't remain static, they distorted surrounding terrain, creating ripples that traveled outward like waves in a pond. Light itself acted erratically, bending at impossible angles and creating kaleidoscopic patterns across the sky. Shadows danced independently of their sources, stretching long and thin, then collapsing inward until they disappeared altogether. Even sound behaved strangely, echoing not just once but multiple times, each repetition arriving slightly altered in pitch or volume. Communication devices struggled to cope, voices emerging garbled and fragmented over headsets. Every attempt to record data yielded inconsistent results, sensors registering phenomena that contradicted established physics. Time itself seemed fluid. Watches ticked faster or slower depending on location within the area explored so far. Some areas felt timeless, others rushed past alarmingly quickly. Despite these challenges, the team pressed onward, driven by a mixture of scientific curiosity and mounting unease. They moved cautiously, scanning their surroundings with handheld devices that struggled to make sense of the chaotic environment. Instruments indicated fluctuations in gravity, electromagnetic fields, and even time dilation, but the readings were erratic, jumping between extremes without warning. It was as though the planet itself was alive, reacting to their presence in ways they couldn't comprehend. Every new discovery raised more questions than answers, fueling debates among the crew about whether to proceed cautiously or retreat while still possible. Fatigue set in quickly, compounded by disorienting conditions making rest nearly impossible. Sleep cycles disrupted by erratic temporal shifts left everyone groggy and irritable, heightening tensions already simmering beneath the surface. Arguments broke out over minor issues, exacerbated by the oppressive atmosphere of uncertainty. Yet despite the growing tension, there was an undeniable allure to this alien world, a sense that they were on the brink of uncovering something truly extraordinary. Each step forward felt like peeling back another layer of a cosmic mystery, drawing them inexorably toward truths hidden within this enigmatic realm. As the group ventured further from their landing site, peculiarities multiplied exponentially. What initially looked like solid ground underfoot turned out to behave more like gelatinous matter when pressure was applied. Footprints didn't remain static. They rippled outward, distorting surrounding terrain before snapping back into place moments later. Light itself acted erratically, bending at impossible angles and creating kaleidoscopic patterns across the sky. Shadows danced independently of their sources, stretching long and thin, then collapsing inward until they disappeared altogether. Even sound behaved strangely, echoing not just once but multiple times, each repetition arriving slightly altered in pitch or volume. Communication devices struggled to cope, voices emerging garbled and fragmented over headsets. Every attempt to record data yielded inconsistent results, sensors registering phenomena that contradicted established physics. Time itself seemed fluid. Watches ticked faster or slower depending on location within the area explored so far. Some areas felt timeless, others rushed past alarmingly quickly. This wasn't merely an alien environment. It was a domain governed by rules incomprehensible to human understanding. Hours passed, or maybe days. Timekeeping remained unreliable as the team pressed onward, driven by both scientific curiosity and mounting unease. They reached a vast plain littered with towering crystalline spires rising hundreds of meters high. These formations refracted light in dazzling displays, painting rainbows across everything nearby. Closer examination revealed intricate lattice patterns etched into their surfaces, resembling circuitry rather than random mineral growths. Touching one caused vibrations to resonate throughout the structure, accompanied by low-frequency hums audible even through protective helmets. Instruments indicated energy emanating from these crystals, though its exact nature eluded classification. Could this be evidence of intelligent design? Or simply another manifestation of this planet's chaotic laws? Questions piled up faster than answers, fueling debates among the crew about whether to proceed cautiously or retreat while still possible. Meanwhile, fatigue set in, compounded by disorienting conditions making rest nearly impossible. Sleep cycles disrupted by erratic temporal shifts left everyone groggy and irritable, heightening tensions already simmering beneath the surface. Arguments broke out over minor issues, exacerbated by the oppressive atmosphere of uncertainty. Yet despite the growing tension, there was an undeniable allure to this alien world, a sense that they were on the brink of uncovering something truly extraordinary. Each step forward felt like peeling back another layer of a cosmic mystery, drawing them inexorably toward truths hidden within this enigmatic realm. Further investigation uncovered additional artifacts scattered throughout the ruins. Fragments of machinery hinted at advanced technology, though their purpose remained unclear. The team marveled at the precision of the designs, which suggested a level of engineering far beyond anything humanity had achieved. Symbols etched deeply into stone bore resemblance to mathematical equations, hinting at advanced knowledge embedded within designs. Was this proof of prior inhabitants who mastered manipulation of physical laws? If so, what happened to them? Speculation ran rampant, yet consensus remained elusive. With every new discovery, uncertainty grew alongside fascination, drawing the team inexorably toward truths hidden within this enigmatic world. The crystalline spires continued to pulse with energy, their hum growing louder as the team moved deeper into the plane. Instruments detected unusual fluctuations in temperature, radiation, and even gravity, suggesting that the spires were somehow influencing the environment around them. Could they be part of a larger system, perhaps a network designed to harness or control the planet's chaotic forces? The team set up camp near the largest spire, hoping to gather more data overnight. But sleep proved elusive. Strange noises echoed through the air, low rumbles, sharp cracks, and eerie whispers that seemed to come from all directions at once. Shadows moved independently of their sources, twisting and contorting in ways that defied logic. Even the stars above appeared distorted, their light bending and refracting as though viewed through a prism. It was as though the planet itself was alive, watching them with unseen eyes, testing their resolve. Morning brought little relief. The team woke to find their equipment malfunctioning even more severely than before. Scanners displayed nonsensical readings, and communication devices failed entirely. Panic began to creep in as the realization dawned. They might be stranded here, cut off from the outside world with no way to call for help. Yet despite the growing fear, there was also a sense of determination. They had come too far to give up now. Whatever secrets this planet held, they were determined to uncover them, even if it meant risking everything. The decision was made to press onward, deeper into the heart of the crystalline plane. The team moved cautiously, their footsteps muffled by the strange, gelatinous ground that rippled beneath their boots. Every step felt like walking through quicksand, requiring extra effort to maintain momentum. Above them, the sky shifted constantly, colors swirling and blending in hypnotic patterns that made it difficult to focus. Shadows danced erratically, sometimes appearing behind objects that cast no light, other times disappearing entirely. As they approached the center of the plane, the crystalline spires grew denser, forming a labyrinthine maze that seemed to stretch endlessly in all directions. The air grew heavier, charged with static electricity that crackled audibly even through their protective suits. Instruments indicated increasing levels of radiation, though oddly localized. Readings spiked near certain spires while remaining normal elsewhere. The team split into pairs, each tasked with exploring different sections of the maze in hopes of finding a pattern or clue to its purpose. One pair stumbled upon a clearing surrounded by particularly tall spires. At its center stood a pedestal-like structure, smooth and featureless except for a single indentation shaped like a handprint. Tentatively, one of the explorers placed their gloved hand into the indentation. Instantly, the ground trembled, and the spires around them lit up with blinding intensity. A low hum filled the air, growing louder and more resonant until it became almost unbearable. Then, just as suddenly as it began, the noise ceased, leaving behind an eerie silence. When the light faded, the pedestal had transformed. Symbols glowed faintly along its surface, pulsing rhythmically like a heartbeat. Attempts to decipher them proved futile. The symbols shifted and rearranged themselves constantly, defying any attempt at translation. It was as though the structure was alive, communicating in a language beyond human comprehension. The explorers backed away slowly, their hearts pounding with equal parts awe and fear. Whatever they had activated, it was clearly far beyond their understanding and potentially dangerous. Reuniting with the rest of the team, the pair recounted their experience, showing footage captured on their helmet cameras. The others listened intently, their expressions a mix of fascination and apprehension. Together, they decided to investigate further, hoping to piece together the puzzle presented by the mysterious pedestal. Returning to the clearing, they found it unchanged, the symbols still glowing softly along the surface. Closer examination revealed additional details. Tiny grooves etched into the pedestal's base formed intricate patterns reminiscent of constellations. When touched, these grooves emitted faint vibrations that traveled up the arm, resonating deep within the chest cavity. It was as though the structure was attempting to convey information directly through touch, bypassing traditional sensory channels. The implications were staggering. If true, this could represent a form of communication entirely alien to human experience. Encouraged by this discovery, the team experimented further, systematically documenting responses to various stimuli. Pressing certain grooves triggered changes in the surrounding environment. Gravity fluctuated wildly, light bent at sharper angles, and time seemed to slow down or speed up depending on proximity to specific spires. It was as though the entire plane functioned as a massive machine, capable of manipulating fundamental forces of nature at will. Yet despite these breakthroughs, frustration mounted. Without a frame of reference, interpreting the data proved nearly impossible. Theories abounded. Some suggested the spires were remnants of an ancient civilization. Others posited they were natural formations imbued with unique properties due to the planet's chaotic laws. Regardless of origin, one thing was clear. Whoever or whatever created them possessed knowledge far surpassing humanity's current capabilities. As night fell, or what passed for night on this planet, the team gathered around a portable heat source, sharing theories and speculating about their next move. Morale remained fragile, strained by exhaustion and the overwhelming sense of insignificance in the face of such profound mystery. Yet amid the uncertainty, there was also a spark of hope. Perhaps, just perhaps, they were on the verge of unlocking secrets that could redefine humanity's understanding of the universe. All they needed was time and courage enough to keep going. The night, or what passed for it, was anything but restful. The team huddled around their portable heat source, the faint glow of their equipment barely penetrating the surreal darkness that enveloped them. Above, the sky churned with colors that shifted unpredictably, as if the very fabric of space-time was unraveling overhead. Strange sounds echoed through the labyrinth of crystalline spires, low rumbles, sharp cracks, and eerie whispers that seemed to emanate from nowhere and everywhere at once. Shadows danced erratically, sometimes appearing behind objects that cast no light, other times collapsing inward until they vanished altogether. Sleep was impossible. Every member of the crew lay awake, their minds racing with questions about the planet's nature and their chances of survival. Was this world alive? Sentient? Or was it simply a chaotic anomaly, a place where the laws of physics had broken down entirely? The pedestal's glowing symbols loomed large in their thoughts, a tantalizing yet terrifying enigma. What did it mean? What had they activated? And most importantly, could they reverse it, or were they now at its mercy? Morning brought little relief. When the team ventured back to the pedestal, they found it subtly changed. The glowing symbols now pulsed faster, their rhythm erratic and almost frantic. The grooves etched into the base felt warmer to the touch, vibrating more intensely than before. It was as though the structure was responding to their presence, or perhaps warning them. One explorer suggested that the pedestal might be a control mechanism, a key to unlocking or shutting down whatever power fueled the planet's bizarre phenomena. Another theorized it could be a trap, luring them deeper into danger with each interaction. Deciding caution was paramount, the team devised a plan to systematically test the pedestal's responses. They marked specific grooves and recorded the environmental changes triggered by touching them. Some interactions caused gravity to invert briefly, sending loose objects floating upward before crashing back down. Others created localized distortions in time, making seconds stretch into minutes or compress into fleeting instants. Light bent so sharply during one experiment that it formed a perfect circle around the pedestal, enclosing the team in a shimmering halo of refracted energy. Despite these revelations, frustration mounted. Without a clear understanding of the symbols or the underlying principles governing the pedestal's behavior, progress felt agonizingly slow. Each discovery raised more questions than answers, deepening the mystery rather than resolving it. Yet amid the chaos, a glimmer of hope persisted. If they could decipher the pedestal's language, if they could communicate with it, They might find a way to stabilize the environment or even escape this maddening realm. Days blurred together as the team continued their experiments, their efforts driven by equal parts desperation and determination. Supplies dwindled, and exhaustion gnawed at their resolve, but they pressed on, unwilling to abandon the mission. The pedestal became their obsession, a focal point for their hopes and fears alike. Its glowing symbol seemed to mock them, shifting and rearranging in ways that defied logic. Touching certain combinations triggered increasingly dramatic effects, some of which bordered on catastrophic. One such incident nearly cost them dearly. While testing a particularly intricate sequence of grooves, the ground beneath them began to ripple violently, as though the planet itself was convulsing. Cracks spiderwebbed across the surface, releasing bursts of energy that sent shards of crystalline material flying in all directions. The air crackled with static electricity, and the hum from the pedestal grew deafening, forcing the team to retreat hastily. When the disturbance subsided, they returned to find the pedestal scorched and partially melted, its surface marred by blackened streaks. Shaken but undeterred, the team regrouped to assess the damage. Miraculously, the pedestal still functioned, though its responses were now even more unpredictable. The glowing symbols flickered erratically, sometimes vanishing entirely before reappearing moments later. It was as though the structure had been damaged but not destroyed, its core mechanisms still intact despite the external trauma. This resilience only deepened the mystery, reinforcing the idea that the pedestal, and by extension, the entire planet, was far more complex than they had initially realized. Determined to learn from their mistake, the team adopted a more methodical approach. They mapped out every groove and symbol, documenting their positions and behaviors with painstaking precision. Patterns began to emerge, subtle correlations between specific sequences and environmental changes. Gravity fluctuations, temporal distortions, and light anomalies all appeared linked to distinct combinations of inputs. Though incomplete, this emerging framework offered a glimpse of order within the chaos, a potential pathway to understanding the pedestal's true purpose. Yet even as they made progress, doubts lingered. Were they truly unraveling the secrets of this alien world, or were they merely playing into its designs? The pedestal's responses often felt deliberate, almost calculated, as if it was guiding them toward a predetermined outcome. Could they trust it? Or was it manipulating them, drawing them closer to some unknown fate? As the team delved deeper into their research, an unsettling realization dawned. The pedestal wasn't just influencing the environment, it was affecting them. Subtle changes began manifesting in their physical and mental states, imperceptible at first but growing more pronounced over time. Headaches became frequent, accompanied by vivid hallucinations that blurred the line between reality and imagination. Some reported hearing voices, faint whispers that seemed to emanate from within their own minds. Others experienced strange sensations, as though their bodies were being stretched or compressed in ways that defied explanation. These symptoms weren't uniform. Each member of the team reacted differently, suggesting that the pedestal's influence was tailored to individual vulnerabilities. For some, it amplified latent fears, conjuring phantoms of past traumas. For others, it tapped into hidden desires, offering glimpses of worlds beyond comprehension. One explorer claimed to see visions of Earth, lush and vibrant, untouched by humanity's mistakes. Another described encounters with shadowy figures who spoke in languages no human throat could replicate. The psychological toll was immense. Tempers flared, paranoia spread, and trust eroded as the crew struggled to distinguish fact from fiction. Arguments erupted over trivial matters, exacerbated by fatigue and mounting stress. Even routine tasks became fraught with tension, as simple misunderstandings spiraled into heated confrontations. It was as though the pedestal was sowing discord, exploiting weaknesses in their unity to weaken their collective resolve. Despite these challenges, the team clung to their mission. They recognized the pedestal's manipulative tendencies but refused to let fear dictate their actions. Instead, they doubled down on their efforts, channeling their frustrations into focused determination. Progress slowed further, hindered by deteriorating morale and increasing uncertainty, but they persevered nonetheless. Each new insight, no matter how small, fueled their belief that understanding the pedestal was their best chance of survival. By now, they had pieced together fragments of its functionality, identifying recurring patterns in its responses. Certain sequences stabilized gravity temporarily, creating pockets of relative normalcy amidst the chaos. Others neutralized temporal distortions, allowing brief windows of coherent time flow. These discoveries provided a semblance of control, however tenuous, over their otherwise unpredictable surroundings. Yet the pedestal's ultimate purpose remained elusive, its deeper mysteries locked behind layers of complexity they couldn't yet penetrate. The breakthrough came unexpectedly, during an experiment that should have been routine. One of the explorers, frustrated by repeated failures, decided to improvise, pressing multiple grooves simultaneously in a desperate attempt to elicit a meaningful response. To everyone's astonishment, the pedestal reacted violently, emitting a blinding flash of light that engulfed the entire clearing. When the light faded, the team found themselves standing in a completely different location, or so it seemed. The crystalline spires were gone, replaced by a vast expanse of smooth, metallic terrain that stretched endlessly in all directions. Above, the sky shimmered with iridescent hues, transitioning seamlessly between colors without any apparent source of illumination. The air felt denser, charged with an electric energy that prickled against their skin even through their protective suits. Instruments went haywire, readings oscillating wildly as they struggled to make sense of their new surroundings. Panic set in as the team realized they had no idea how to return to the pedestal or whether it even existed anymore. Had they triggered some kind of transport mechanism, relocating them to another part of the planet? Or had they inadvertently crossed into an entirely different dimension? Theories abounded, but none provided satisfactory answers. All they knew for certain was that they were trapped in an unfamiliar environment, surrounded by phenomena even more baffling than before. Exploration revealed additional anomalies. Objects placed on the metallic surface didn't remain stationary. Instead, they drifted slowly, as though carried by invisible currents. Shadows moved independently of their sources, twisting and contorting in ways that defied logic. Time itself seemed fluid, accelerating and decelerating randomly, making it impossible to track the passage of hours or days. Communication devices failed entirely, leaving the team isolated and cut off from any hope of rescue. Amid the chaos, one thing became clear: the pedestal's influence extended far beyond its immediate vicinity. Whatever they had activated, it had fundamentally altered their reality, plunging them deeper into the planet's enigmatic embrace. Escaping would require not just understanding the pedestal but mastering it, a daunting prospect given its complexity and unpredictability. Yet even as despair threatened to overwhelm them, a spark of defiance remained. They had come too far to give up now. If the planet wanted to test their limits, they would rise to the challenge, no matter the cost. Hours, or perhaps days, passed as the team adapted to their new surroundings. Movement across the metallic terrain proved challenging, as the drifting currents made navigation unpredictable. One moment, they would stride confidently forward. The next, they would find themselves drifting sideways or even backward, propelled by unseen forces. Adjusting their pace and gait helped mitigate the effect, but progress remained slow and laborious. Despite these difficulties, exploration yielded intriguing discoveries. Scattered across the expanse were clusters of floating orbs, translucent and pulsating with soft light. When approached, the orbs emitted low-frequency vibrations that resonated through the ground, creating ripples in the metallic surface. Touching them triggered vivid sensory experiences, flooding the mind with images, sounds, and emotions that defied description. Some orbs evoked feelings of profound peace and clarity, while others induced overwhelming dread and confusion. The team speculated that these orbs might serve as repositories of information, storing knowledge in a form accessible only through direct interaction. If true, they represented a potential treasure trove of insights into the planet's nature and origins. Yet accessing that knowledge came at a price. Prolonged exposure to the orbs left the explorers disoriented, their perceptions skewed and their memories fragmented. Distinguishing real events from hallucinatory experiences became increasingly difficult, blurring the boundaries between objective reality and subjective interpretation. Tensions ran high as disagreements arose over how to proceed. Some argued for cautious experimentation, advocating gradual exposure to minimize risks. Others favored bold action, convinced that only aggressive investigation would yield meaningful results. Compromise proved elusive, and arguments escalated into shouting matches, further eroding cohesion. Morale plummeted, exacerbated by the oppressive atmosphere of uncertainty. Yet even in the depths of despair, moments of clarity emerged. One orb revealed a fleeting glimpse of the pedestal, its glowing symbols pulsing rhythmically as though beckoning them back. Another showed a star map, charting constellations unfamiliar yet strangely familiar, hinting at connections between this alien world and distant regions of the cosmos. These fragmented visions offered tantalizing clues, reinforcing the belief that understanding the orbs, and by extension, the planet, was key to their survival. With renewed determination, the team pressed onward, navigating the treacherous terrain in search of answers. Each step brought them closer to unraveling the mysteries of this bizarre realm, even as it pushed them further into uncharted territory. As the team ventured deeper into the metallic expanse, the orbs grew more numerous and varied in appearance. Some were small and delicate, hovering just above the surface like fireflies. Others were massive, suspended high overhead, casting diffuse light that illuminated vast stretches of terrain. Their pulsations synchronized intermittently, creating wave-like patterns that rippled outward before dissipating into nothingness. Curiosity outweighed caution as the explorers interacted with the orbs, drawn inexorably by the promise of knowledge. Each encounter left them altered, their perceptions reshaped by the sensory overload induced by the orb's vibrations. Colors seemed brighter, sounds sharper, emotions more intense. Reality itself felt heightened, as though they were experiencing the world through a lens magnified to an unbearable degree. Yet alongside these enhancements came drawbacks. Cognitive functions faltered under the strain, leading to lapses in judgment and memory. Simple tasks became arduous, requiring monumental effort to complete. Communication suffered as well, with words failing to convey the depth of their experiences. Describing the orb's effects proved impossible. Language lacked the capacity to capture their complexity. Frustration mounted as the team grappled with these limitations. Trust eroded further as misunderstandings multiplied, fueled by distorted perceptions and conflicting interpretations. Arguments erupted frequently, escalating into heated confrontations that left everyone drained and demoralized. Unity fractured, replaced by isolation as each member retreated into their own private struggle to cope with the overwhelming stimuli. Despite these challenges, glimpses of progress emerged. Patterns began to emerge among the orb's behaviors, subtle correlations between their pulsations and environmental changes. Certain frequencies appeared linked to gravity fluctuations, while others influenced temporal distortions. Mapping these relationships required painstaking effort, but the results were promising. Slowly, incrementally, the team pieced together a rudimentary framework for predicting the orb's effects, a fragile foothold in an otherwise incomprehensible landscape. Armed with this newfound understanding, they forged ahead, driven by the conviction that mastery over the orbs held the key to unraveling the planet's secrets. Each step brought them closer to the truth, even as it plunged them deeper into the unknown. The team's fragile understanding of the orbs began to coalesce into a clearer picture, though clarity itself remained elusive. Each orb seemed to resonate at a specific frequency, its vibrations interacting with the environment in unique ways. By cataloging these frequencies and their effects, the explorers identified recurring patterns that hinted at an underlying logic governing the planet's chaotic phenomena. Gravity fluctuations, temporal distortions, and even shifts in perception appeared tied to distinct combinations of orb interactions. Yet mastering this system proved far more challenging than anticipated. The orbs didn't respond predictably. Their behaviors were influenced by factors beyond the team's control. Proximity, timing, and even the mental state of the observer seemed to play roles in determining outcomes. One sequence might stabilize gravity temporarily, creating a pocket of relative normalcy, while another could plunge them into a vortex of disorienting sensations. Success depended on precision and intuition, a delicate balance that tested their limits both physically and mentally. As they experimented further, the psychological toll grew heavier. Prolonged exposure to the orbs left lasting imprints on their minds, altering perceptions in ways that persisted even after leaving their vicinity. Colors appeared hypersaturated, sounds echoed unnaturally, and emotions fluctuated wildly without apparent cause. Reality itself felt malleable, as though the boundaries between thought and existence had blurred. Some members of the team began questioning whether their experiences were real or merely constructs of their altered consciousness. Despite these challenges, or perhaps because of them, the team pressed onward, driven by a mix of determination and desperation. They recognized that the orbs represented not just obstacles but opportunities. If they could decode their language, they might gain control over the planet's erratic forces, tipping the scales in their favor. Hope flickered faintly amidst the chaos, a beacon guiding them through the darkness. One breakthrough came unexpectedly during an experiment involving multiple orbs. By synchronizing their pulsations, the team triggered a cascade of effects that stabilized the surrounding environment for an extended period. Gravity normalized, time flowed consistently, and sensory distortions diminished significantly. For the first time since arriving on the planet, they felt a semblance of stability, a fleeting reprieve from the relentless unpredictability. Encouraged by this success, they refined their techniques, exploring increasingly complex sequences. The results were mixed. Some attempts yielded remarkable progress, while others plunged them back into chaos. Yet each failure provided valuable insights, narrowing the gap between ignorance and understanding. Slowly but surely, they edged closer to unraveling the planet's mysteries. With newfound confidence, the team ventured deeper into the metallic expanse, guided by the stabilizing effects of synchronized orb interactions. Their journey took them to a region unlike any they had encountered before. Here, the terrain shifted constantly, forming intricate geometric patterns that pulsed with rhythmic precision. At its center stood a massive structure resembling a fusion of organic and mechanical elements, its surface adorned with glowing runes that mirrored those etched into the pedestal. Approaching cautiously, the team discovered that the structure emitted a low hum, resonating in harmony with the orb's vibrations. Instruments indicated immense energy emanating from within, suggesting it served as a nexus point for the planet's anomalous phenomena. Could this be the source of the pedestal's power? Or was it something even more fundamental, an engine driving the entire world's chaotic behavior? Deciding to investigate further, they attempted to interact with the structure using techniques honed through their work with the orbs. Touching its surface triggered immediate responses, causing the runes to glow brighter and rearrange themselves into new configurations. Environmental changes followed suit, with gravity, light, and time all shifting dramatically. It became clear that the structure functioned as a control mechanism, capable of manipulating the planet's forces on a grand scale. However, accessing its full potential required deciphering the runes' meanings, a task complicated by their constant rearrangement. Like the pedestal's symbols, the runes defied conventional interpretation, shifting and transforming in ways that resisted analysis. Frustration mounted as efforts to decode them yielded inconsistent results, forcing the team to rely on trial and error. Progress was agonizingly slow, hindered by exhaustion and mounting uncertainty. Yet amid the struggle, moments of clarity emerged. Certain rune patterns corresponded to specific environmental effects, offering glimpses of order within the chaos. By documenting these correlations systematically, the team gradually pieced together fragments of understanding. Each insight brought them closer to unlocking the structure's secrets, fueling their belief that mastery over it held the key to escaping the planet, or at least surviving its perils. The final breakthrough came unexpectedly, born of desperation rather than calculation. Exhausted and on the verge of collapse, one explorer pressed multiple runes simultaneously in a last-ditch attempt to elicit a meaningful response. To everyone's astonishment, the structure reacted violently, emitting a blinding flash of light that engulfed the entire region. When the light faded, the team found themselves standing in a familiar location, the clearing where they had first encountered the pedestal. But something was different. The pedestal's glowing symbols now pulsed steadily, their rhythm calm and deliberate. Its grooves felt cool to the touch, no longer vibrating erratically. It was as though the structure had been reset, its chaotic tendencies subdued. Instruments confirmed widespread stabilization. Gravity returned to normal, temporal distortions ceased, and sensory anomalies dissipated entirely. For the first time since landing on the planet, reality felt tangible and coherent. Realization dawned slowly. By activating the central structure, they had restored equilibrium to the planet's forces, neutralizing its erratic behavior. Whether intentional or accidental, their actions had achieved what seemed impossible, taming the untamable. Relief washed over them, mingled with awe at the magnitude of what they had accomplished. Yet questions lingered. What had truly caused the planet's instability? Was it a natural phenomenon, or had it been engineered deliberately? And what role did the pedestal and the central structure play in this cosmic equation? Answers remained elusive, shrouded in layers of mystery too profound to unravel fully. As they prepared to leave, the team couldn't shake the feeling that they had barely scratched the surface of this alien world's secrets. The experience had changed them irrevocably, reshaping their understanding of reality and humanity's place within the universe. Though grateful to have survived, they knew they would never forget the lessons learned or the sacrifices made in their quest for knowledge. If you enjoyed this mind-bending journey into the unknown, don't forget to subscribe for more thrilling sci-fi adventures.